Do you think the way that you look in your store or the way your employees look matters to the vibe of your store? Are you discounting too much in order to increase sales? This is going to talk about these two things: people, our appearances, our self-image, and price. Don't discount, display. Remember, image created plus image maintained is target marketing. So I want to tell you a little story, and I actually had AI generate these images for me because I didn't take any pictures at the time, but I was called to the One of a Kind show in Toronto to come and work with them for 3 days in a row, giving a seminar every morning while they had muffins and coffee before the show opened, and then to take a list of all the vendors that would like me to come by and give them a 20-minute evaluation of their space. And that was all paid for and sponsored by the One of a Kind show. And it was a great show. Everything was extremely curated and had to be handmade, homemade. Nothing there could be multi-level marketing or imports or anything like that. It had to be the artisans right there that did it. So I remember going in front of this guy's booth, whose name was on my list, and I would habitually walk by it both ways just to see, where do you see it first? What's the first glance here? What are people seeing first as they come down? And then I would evaluate it. Of course, I'm looking for height, where the products are at good prime selling space. And I'm also looking for light, and I'm looking for their sign so that it's very clear who they are, what they do, what their brand, what their name is, and that kind of thing. So when I came upon this guy's booth, um, his products were all black and with beautiful bright colors on them, and they were all on really nice fixtures, and everything was looking really uniform. His sign was great, his lighting was great, and yet something was just not right. And as I stepped back and kind of really looked at it, I looked at him, the person. He was wearing brown. He was wearing, almost here, brown pants and a plaid shirt. And it was so incongruent that you almost wouldn't know if he was the owner or just somebody there, um, browsing, and that the owner had actually stepped away from the booth. So I made some recommendations to him, and this is kind of what we did. Now, what was funny about this was that there was a vendor next to him that was selling these ties. And a lot of the ties had a black background with bright colors on. Some of them were actually cartoonish and kind of fun. And so I said to him, you need to be wearing a black shirt, black pants, black shirt, and go and get one of those guys' ties. Maybe he'll even give you one so that you can wear it and promote his neckties. Well, because it was a 3-day event and I was in there the following day, I went by and checked, and sure enough, and he was really enjoying the fact. In fact, his whole demeanor had perked right up because I knew that he looked good and he wasn't sticking out like a sore thumb, but kind of, and not blending in too much either, just being fun like his product. Here we go. Appearance can equal intended image. So this little guy, it's no doubt in our mind by what he's wearing and what his appearance is, who he wants to be and what he's imagining himself as. And then when it comes to movies, I mean, they take the actors and they put costumes on them and dress them up, do their makeup and hair and all these other special effects so that we are drawn right into the character. And then, of course, if your house was on fire and somebody showed up who looked like this, you'd feel you were in really good hands because it all fits. Now, I went online and decided to ask for images on careers. I wanted just pictures of careers. And this is what I got, career images. And it would be kind of fun to have a contest and see who could pick out the most of the careers that are shown in here, and based on what they're wearing. Appearance alone. In our culture, we have a lot of expectations of what we believe people should look like or what they should be wearing. So it's interesting that this weekend that I'm recording this is the end of August into September 1st, and so we're 2 days away from Happy Labor Day and Labor Day weekend for this year. And look at the images here. There are 7 different images of appearances or dress that would indicate the average or the greatest number of careers for celebrating Labor Day. So appearance is self-image. Appearance is not just a facade, but an important indicator of our capabilities, our attitudes, and our self-image, according to an image consultant in the LA Times. So why a dress code? Well, to get the right attention, especially from your customers and your shoppers, so that they know who's in charge there, who has the authority, who has the product knowledge, who's going to be able to help them. To fantasize or make believe. This is a new employee wanting to look the part and knowing that if you give them a uniform, a name tag, because they look the part, they can fantasize or make believe that they have the authority and they're already skilled in their job, and that really helps them to do a good job. To have identity in a group, and this is when you think of teams, ball teams, for example, sports teams, you know, their identity is wrapped up in what they're wearing, and when they're playing a game, we can glance over the field and see which is our favorite team or our favorite players just by what they're wearing. And we can tell the black and white striped guy that that's the referee too. And so we know who's who when we're watching a really active sport. And to expose achievements. A lot of times exposing achievements comes with what you're wearing. Think of the military, for example. They wear different things as they go up in their different ranks. They have different uniforms and different insignia on them and things like that. Same with hats. Sometimes in the police force or different places, you can tell by the headgear that they're wearing what level of status they are in that organization. Let's look what happens when people are clothes conscious. If they're clothes conscious, they're preoccupied with how you look, in need of attention, lack of confidence, and low self-esteem. Self-conscious is shy, embarrassed, preoccupied with yourself, your thoughts, etc., and you're very focused inward. Conscious of clothes means that you're using them to work for you and then forgetting how you look to get on with your job. Conscious of self, the opposite of self-conscious, is acting and reacting in control, aware and occupied with work and focused outward. So I remember the time when I used to get dressed in the morning, put my shoulders back, my chin up, and head out the door and consider work and nothing else. So I had to tell my staff, when you see me with no lipstick on, I need lipstick. Please just stop and say, you need to put lipstick on. Because I'd go through the day and until I went into a washroom, looked at myself in the mirror and thought, oh, I look terrible. I need some lipstick after having coffee and meals for the day. So you can have somebody remind you if you need to. But other than that, I was so busy working and enjoying what I did that I really didn't stop to think about some of those details. So appearance is self-image. Appearance is not just a facade, but an important indicator of our capabilities, our attitudes, and our self-image, according to an image consultant in the LA Times. So why a dress code? Well, to get the right attention, especially from your customers and your shoppers, so that they know who's in charge there, who has the authority, who has the product knowledge, who's going to be able to help them. To fantasize or make believe. This is a new employee wanting to look the part and knowing that if you give them a uniform, a name tag, because they look the part, they can fantasize or make believe that they have the authority and they're already skilled in their job, and that really helps them to do a good job. To have identity in a group, and this is when you think of teams, ball teams, for example, sports teams, you know, their identity is wrapped up in what they're wearing, and when they're playing a game, we can glance over the field and see which is our favorite team or our favorite players just by what they're wearing. And we can tell the black and white striped guy that that's the referee too. And so we know who's who when we're watching a really active sport. And to expose achievements. A lot of times exposing achievements comes with what you're wearing. Think of the military, for example. They wear different things as they go up in their different ranks. They have different uniforms and different insignia on them and things like that. Same with hats. Sometimes in the police force or different places, you can tell by the headgear that they're wearing what level of status they are in that organization. So what are public expectations when we start to put the price and the people together? Because that's what we're doing in this video. There are public expectations, and we can know what some of them are. If you go into Home Depot, you know that these are the people you're going to see. You're going to look for those orange aprons, and when you get up close to some of them, they're all covered with their little insignia, their little pins, and all their achievements are being put on there and to promote them and to show you that they're expert and they've been around and they know what they're talking about. This is a gentleman who owns a vintage toy store, and look at how he's dressed. It's just, I think it just goes par for the course. It's what you would expect of someone who is owner of a store with vintage toys. And then, of course, a baker, somebody that's baking or cooking. We like the idea that they're wearing an apron. This would be a clothing store person with the lanyard on. So having the lanyard on not only has their name, but it gives them the authority for being there. You know you can count on them. And then jewelry salespeople, they often do wear gloves as part of their uniform and the part of their look and what you expect them to appear because of handling the jewelry and keeping all the fingerprints and everything off of it, keep them all clean and sparkly. And then, of course, the gourmet food people and the way that they're dressed when they're waiting on us. And here again, a clerk in a shoe store, and you know she's the clerk and she's wearing her name tag. So these are all important reasons why we have these expectations, but they also line up with the price of the product. So the price of the product, and we'll call it the value of the product. So the dollar value of the product kind of has an image as well. And that the clerk and the store people, the owners, the people that are waiting on them. I often think of airlines. I think of course, the military and the police force. I think of the medical community. You know, they all wear what is appropriate and what our expectations are of what they're offering and what they're doing, whether it's a product or a service. Okay, let's add it up. Any product plus a great display equals good dollar value. Good dollar value plus browsing customer equals sales. Sales plus no discounts equals more profits. So let's take a quick look at this image, the sketch that I do. And here's an example of a tray, and it's got onesies on it, one of this, one of that. And these are typically what is left over. And rather than discount them and put them on a discount table, kind of just scatter them around, you bring them together and you tell a little story with them. So when you set it up on a tray like this, and every one of these could be something that was left over, assuming that they kind of look good together in terms of their color pattern and style, then you're telling a story of breakfast in bed or picking up a tray with your lunch on and taking it out to the back porch. So that's a story you're telling, and you have the choice to sell them all together as a package deal, even with the tray, or to just keep the price on, sell them one at a time. Here's another example of bundling and putting things together. So if you have an odd number of something, but they look good together, then tie a little ribbon around them, add a little price tag on them, and just sell them as is as a bundle. You don't even have to put as is on. You just show what it is. You can put right on there 11 napkins because maybe it was 2 sets of 6 and they're discontinued. And rather than sell one set of 6 and the other 5, you've decided to bundle them all together. And you'd be amazed how people will pick those up and take them out knowing that they are bargain because they look good. And then you could do the same thing with little boxes of products or books or anything like that. Just put it into a little package, stick a price on it, and you'd be amazed. So we're going to take a look now at the special extra things that you can do with products. So here's a bonus list, and this comes from my book, Move Merchandise Around for a Fresh New Look, Display More with Related Colors or the Same Color, Put dead stock or onesies in feature displays as I just demonstrated, and make your own bundles, create sets or gift baskets. Again, these are things that I want you to do to your leftovers, onesies, end of the line, rather than discounting. If you want to have a big store-wide sale once a year so that people look forward to that and you increase your cash flow, and do it such as in the fall just before Christmas or any time when you're expecting a whole bunch of new product to come in and you need to make room for it. That's the best time to have a sale. And if you only have a few sales a year, then people really look forward to them. They're meaningful. They mean something rather than something's on Your half your store's on sale all the time just because you're trying to generate income. And also, donate to a local charity for auctions or door prizes. When you have that one item left and you don't know what to do with it, and you've done everything you know to do and it hasn't sold, and you've even discounted it, then donate it to a local charity for auctions and door prizes. They haven't seen it. When it goes out into the community, when it goes to a community fundraising event, it's new and fresh and interesting to them. Remain excited about the item no matter what. The tendency here is for shop owners who have had something in their store a long time, they've discounted it, that they are actually ashamed of it. They feel ashamed. They think, well, because nobody has bought it, nobody wants it, you know, it's not trendy, it's ugly, it's old, whatever. And yet I've proven again and again that when you display it, when you take all those tags off of it, clean it up, dust it, and put on the original price tag, I remind them, I say, you know, this thing owes you a lot of rent. It's been here for a long time and hasn't paid rent yet. So when you sell it, you need to sell it for enough to cover not only what you've paid for, but the rent all these years. Make sure your business card and your or a brochure for your business goes with that item so that when it arrives there, everybody knows. In fact, if you're selling something like a picture, a plate or something, just actually even just stick one of your cards or labels or something right on the back of the item or on the item. And sometimes you can send a gift bag and tissue along with it for them to put it in if it's breakable and it needs that kind of packaging, and then staple your card or put your sticky label onto the gift bag, and that way too the advertising promotion for you, because that really is what it is. It's still advertising and promotion for your business in your town, and it'll go a long way, trust me. So what's your takeaway today? Figure out what uniform or dress code will enhance the image of your business. If you have been discounting, stop it. Try some display ideas, cash in on sales and profits. So look at the other videos in this playlist about your store's vibe. The first one covers what is image and goes into more detail about it, why it's important, and all the elements you need to consider as they all work together. And then the one on place, your location, and what to do from the outside in. What are the buyers seeing at their first glance, and is that what you want them to see? Does that truly represent you? Do you need to upgrade it, update it? And then the other one is on products and presentation. So organize equals sales. And speaking of organize, I'm inviting you to get a free downloadable copy of The Organized Retailer, which will transform your store beginning today as you read it. Because I follow a client of mine from beginning to end, Velda. She increased store traffic and boosted sales by 70% in 3 years until she successfully sold her business, which is what she wanted, an exit strategy. You know, it's way easier to sell a business that's doing well, and you get more for it, and the people buying it are happy to carry on and deal with it, and then actually even goodwill has some value there because of all the clientele and loyalty that you've built up. She said, these are her words, more productive staff, every item had a place, reducing wasted steps and maximizing efficiency. She said, organized supplies, saving time and preventing over-purchasing and improving workflow. Engaging displays, customers browsed longer, found add-ons easily, and spent more. You know, she had greeting cards, and she had those little balloons that are on the little stick, and she had stuffies or plush. And she said when the sales reps would come in, they were visiting her on a more regular basis. They actually told her she sold more of those than anybody else that they called on. And that happened almost overnight based on where we put them and what we did with them and the image we gave the whole store so that everything had a fresh look and it looked different and people just loved being in there. And streamlined customer service, faster checkouts, and strategic merchandising ensured seasonal sell-through. Those are so important. People want to sell through, especially in the gift and tableware industry and garden and gourmet. Those can be very seasonal. You always have things happening like Mother's Day, Father's Day, Easter, Christmas, Valentine's Day. These events, they come and they go, and a lot of merchants bring in things especially for that, and then they don't feel good about having them hanging around and left over, and how to display them. And I do have some tips and tricks on that as well, and those are coming up in other videos. So what I'm doing is inviting you to go to todaysdisplays.com for more resources, and I'll check in with you in my next video. Feel free to like and subscribe and do all those wonderful things that really help us as YouTubers. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye.